Welcome to another deep dive.
Glad to be here.
Today we're tackling a real giant of literature, one that, well, it's charmed and challenged readers for, what, over 2 centuries now?
Easily. Still feels fresh, though.
It really does.
Yeah.
We are, of course, talking about Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice, taking an in-depth look.
A classic for a reason.
Exactly. Now, our source for this discussion is a really well-crafted summary of the novel. It does a great job, I think, of boiling down the plot, the characters, the big themes, into something manageable.
Yeah, it's a good starting point. Hits the key beats.
And our mission, as always, is to pull out the most important insights from this summary, this snapshot, really, give you a shortcut to understanding why this book, written way back in 1813, still resonates so much.
Why it's not just a historical artifact.
Not at all. So get ready. We'll be exploring love, class, those dangerous first impressions, snap judgments, and the whole journey of personal growth. It's all there in the summary.
All the big hitters. Should be good.
All right, let's jump in. Let's set the stage first. The world of Pride and Prejudice.
Okay.
Our source material reminds us, published 1813, rural England, the Regency era.
Right, a very specific time and place. Distinct social rules, expectations.
And it's Austen's most famous work, isn't it? Celebrated everywhere for its humor, that incredibly sharp eye for human nature, and, well, these themes that just don't seem to age.
That's the genius of it. She wraps these deep observations in what looks like, on the surface, a fairly straightforward romantic story.
But it's so much more.
Mm.
And the summary kicks things off right away with the core problem. The Bennet family in Longbourn.
Ah, yes, the Bennets.
5 unmarried daughters. And their mother, Mrs. Bennet, whose main goal in life seems to be getting them married off. Preferably well.
And that eagerness, as the summary puts it, it's not just a mother wanting the best for her kids. It's driven by something much more urgent.
Which brings us to that sharp social commentary the summary mentions.
Precisely. Because having 5 unmarried daughters then wasn't just, a social challenge. It was a potential economic catastrophe for the whole family.
Because of the entailment, right?
The estate. Exactly. The summary notes Longbourn is entailed to a male cousin, Mr. Collins. And that detail, entailment, it's absolutely critical.
Explain that a bit more. What did entailment actually mean in practice?
Well, it meant the property, the house, the land, the income, basically their entire security and social standing could only be passed down to a male heir.
So no sons, no inheritance for the daughters.
None. When Mr. Bennet dies, Mrs. Bennet and her 5 daughters lose everything. The house, the income.
Yeah.
It all goes to Mr. Collins, the closest male relative. They'd be essentially homeless and penniless.
Wow. That puts Mrs. Bennet's eagerness in a totally different light. It's not just meddling, it's survival.
It's absolute desperation. The pressure on those daughters was immense. Marriage wasn't just about love, though they hoped for that too, of course.
Especially Jane and Elizabeth.
Right. But fundamentally, marriage was their only path to survival, to securing a future. It dictated Mrs. Bennet's frantic scheming and defined the daughters' very limited choices.
So the romance is happening against this backdrop of potential disaster.
Completely. It grounds everything in a harsh economic reality. The summary mentions class and marriage as a theme later, but it's there from page 1. The financial stakes make every romantic encounter, every social maneuver incredibly high stakes.
It really makes you think, how much of that initial tension is truly about romance and how much is just cold, hard economics?
It's deeply intertwined. The economic pressure fuels so much of the early plot. It makes Mrs. Bennet less of a caricature and more of a product of her time, a very stressful time for women in her position.
Yeah, suddenly her nerves seem a lot more understandable.
Definitely. Austen shows how that societal structure, limiting women's options, creates that kind of frantic focus on marriage.
Okay, so against this backdrop of financial anxiety, things start to heat up with some new arrivals.
Enter the gentleman.
Right. Our source flags the arrival of wealthy bachelor Mr. Bingley moving to nearby Netherfield. Cue the excitement, especially for Mrs. Bennet.
Prime marriage material in her eyes.
Yeah.
Wealthy, single, perfect.
And then we get that pivotal scene. The Meryton Assembly. The local ball.
The first big set piece where everyone meets everyone.
And Austen immediately sets up this brilliant contrast. You've got Bingley, who charms everyone, especially eldest daughter Jane. He's friendly, open, dances with everyone.
The ideal newcomer, easygoing, makes a great first impression.
And then you have his friend, Mr. Darcy. Even wealthier, but different.
Right, very different. The
Yeah.
summary says he appears aloof, refusing to dance with Elizabeth Bennet. Aloof is putting it mildly, perhaps.
Yes, he seems almost disdainful, stands apart, doesn't want to engage.
And this is where Elizabeth comes in. The summary calls her witty and independent. Key traits.
Crucial, because she doesn't just shrink away. And then comes the moment she overhears Darcy.
Ah, yes, the infamous slight.
He dismisses her, says she's tolerable, but not handsome enough to tempt me. Can you imagine overhearing that?
Ouch. Especially for someone like Elizabeth, who has her own sense of pride and worth. It's instant antagonism.
And that right there is the mutual prejudice the summary talks about. It kicks off immediately.
It does. She hears that insult and boom, Darcy's arrogant, proud, awful, full stop.
And from his side, he sees her family as maybe a bit loud, less polished, socially beneath him.
Probably. He makes a snap judgment based on social class and maybe her spirited defense mechanisms, which you might misread. So prejudice forms on both sides, instantly, based on very little actual interaction.
It's amazing how quickly that happens in the book and, well, in life.
It's pure human psychology, isn't it? We grab on to first impressions, overheard snippets, appearances, and build a whole narrative. Darcy's aloofness, is it just pride? Or maybe shyness? Class consciousness? Pressure?
Could be a mix of things. He's certainly aware of his status.
Deeply aware. His pride is tied to his wealth, his family name, his position. That's his armor, perhaps.
And Elizabeth's wit. Her independence. Is that partly a defense, too? Against a world that tries to pigeonhole women.
Could be. Her quick perception is usually a strength, but here, fueled by her pride, it leads her judgment astray, at least initially. So you have his pride clashing hard with her. Well, her prejudice against his pride.
It sets up the whole dynamic. How hard is it to undo those first impressions?
Incredibly hard, especially when they're so negative. And Austen makes it even harder for Elizabeth.
With Mr. Wickham.
Exactly. Enter the charming Mr. Wickham. Our summary calls him a charming military officer, and charming he is.
He seems like everything Darcy isn't. Open, friendly, tells a great story.
A very compelling story. He tells Elizabeth that Darcy wronged him, cheated him out of an inheritance, ruined his prospects.
And Elizabeth just laps it up, doesn't she?
She does, because Wickham is charming, and crucially, his story confirms her existing negative opinion of Darcy. It fits her narrative perfectly.
It's confirmation bias in action.
Textbook case. She wants to believe Darcy is capable of such villainy because she already dislikes him. Wickham provides the proof.
And Wickham's surface charm makes him seem trustworthy, unlike the stiff, proud Darcy.
Right. It shows the power of narrative, the danger of believing a story just because it fits what you already think, or because the storyteller is charismatic. She doesn't dig deeper.
Because her prejudice makes her receptive to that specific story.
Precisely. It cements Darcy as the villain in her mind. It's a masterful way. Austen shows how easily we can be misled by surface appearances and convenient tales.
So we have Darcy proud and seemingly aloof, Elizabeth prejudiced against him, and Wickham pouring poison in her ear. Where does that leave the romance?
Well, it leads to probably the most awkward proposal in literature.
Huh, yes. The summary calls Darcy's declaration of love surprising. That's an understatement.
It comes out of nowhere for Elizabeth, and despite his supposed love, he makes it clear he's proposing despite her lower social standing, her family's issues.
It's incredibly arrogant.
Astoundingly so. And Elizabeth, true to form, does not hold back.
No, she lets him have it. The summary says she refuses him strongly, accusing him of arrogance and of separating Bingley from Jane.
She unleashes all her pent-up anger and prejudice, accuses him of ruining her sister's happiness, of ruining Wickham's life, of being unbearable, basically.
It's a fiery rejection. You really think, okay, that's it. No coming back from this.
It seems final. But then comes Darcy's response. Not another argument, but a letter.
The letter, the game changer.
Absolutely, the turning point, just as the summary indicates. Darcy lays out his side of the story, systematically dismantling Elizabeth's accusations.
What are the key bombshells in that letter?
Two major ones. First, Wickham's true character. Darcy reveals Wickham didn't just get wronged, he actively tried to elope with Darcy's sister for her fortune.
His teenage sister, right, Georgiana.
Exactly. A vulnerable young girl. Wickham was after her money and would have ruined her reputation. It paints Wickham as a manipulative predator, not a victim.
That must have been a shock for Elizabeth, who found Wickham so charming.
A massive shock. Makes her question everything she thought she knew about judging character. And then, the second revelation.
About Bingley and Jane.
Yes. Darcy explains why he interfered. He says he only acted to protect Bingley from Jane's perceived lack of affection.
Perceived lack of affection. So he thought Jane didn't really love Bingley.
Precisely. Jane is naturally reserved, quiet. Darcy misinterpreted her gentle nature as indifference, maybe even gold-digging. He genuinely thought he was saving his friend from heartbreak or a mercenary marriage.
So it wasn't pure snobbery or malice.
Yeah.
It was misguided judgment.
Misguided, yes. Still arrogant and assuming he knew best, perhaps, but his motive wasn't simply to be cruel. It was based on observation, albeit flawed observation, and loyalty to Bingley.
How does Elizabeth react to all this? These revelations must completely undermine her certainty.
They shatter it. The summary puts it perfectly. The letter forces Elizabeth to confront her own prejudice and the unreliability of her quick judgments.
She has to admit she was wrong.
Utterly wrong. About Darcy, about Wickham, about her own infallible perception. It's a moment of profound humility. She, who prided herself on her insight, was totally fooled by charm and blinded by her initial dislike of Darcy.
That's the start of her real growth, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's painful, but necessary. And this leads, as the summary notes, to Elizabeth's changing view.
It's not instant, though, right? She has to process it.
No, it takes time. She reconsiders Darcy's actions and sees his generosity. She replays events in her mind, looks at them through this new lens.
And the summary gives that huge example of his generosity, Lydia's elopement.
Right. Darcy secretly pays off Wickham to marry Elizabeth's youngest sister, Lydia, after their scandalous elopement.
Explain why that was so significant. It wasn't just embarrassing, was it?
It was catastrophic. A young woman running off with a man like Wickham who likely wouldn't marry her without serious incentive. It would disgrace the entire Bennet family, ruin the other sister's marriage prospects completely.
So Darcy steps in, saves the family's reputation.
At great personal expense and effort. And crucially, he does it secretly. He doesn't want credit, certainly not from the Bennets initially. He does it, arguably, for Elizabeth, to save her family from ruin.
Even after she rejected him so harshly.
Exactly. It's a selfless act that speaks volumes about his true character hidden beneath that prideful exterior. It shows integrity, generosity, and maybe a changed heart.
And this is what finally fully convinces Elizabeth.
It forces her to see him clearly, beyond her prejudice, to recognize his fundamental goodness. It's the ultimate proof that her initial judgment was wrong, and it paves the way for her own self-awareness to deepen.
It connects back to that theme of personal growth the summary flags, both of them learning humility.
Definitely. She learns to question herself, he learns to act selflessly, they're both evolving.
So after all that upheaval, the misunderstandings, the letter, the secret rescue, how did the summary wrap things up?
With a resolution that feels earned, I think. First, Bingley returns, proposes to Jane, and she accepts.
Yay! Happy ending for the nice ones.
Right. Their path was blocked by misunderstanding, so it feels right that they find their way back once the air is cleared.
And the main event.
The main event, Darcy proposes to Elizabeth again.
Second time's the charm.
Let's hope so. And this time, she accepts.
Yeah. Phew. It's the culmination of everything, isn't it? Their growth. Overcoming those initial barriers.
Exactly. And the summary connects this directly back to the core theme, stating, love triumphs as both overcome their pride and prejudice. It's not just a romance, it's a victory over their own flaws.
Let's dig into those themes one last time, based on the summary's take. First, pride.
Darcy's defining flaw, initially. The summary says his sense of superiority nearly costs him happiness. And it did.
How did that pride show itself?
Oh, in his aloofness, his snobbery, those cutting remarks at the ball, and especially that disastrous first proposal, he genuinely thought his status made him superior.
And how did he overcome it?
Through Elizabeth's rejection, mainly. It forced him to look at himself. And his actions with Lydia show a new humility, acting without needing recognition, fixing a mess partly caused by Wickham, whom he knew to be bad. He humbled himself.
Okay, then prejudice. Elizabeth's big hurdle.
Right. The summary notes, Elizabeth's quick judgments lead her astray. Her intelligence and wit were double-edged swords sometimes.
She was too quick to judge Darcy negatively.
Yes, based on that first impression and reinforced by Wickham's lies. She judged Wickham too favorably, too. She trusted surface charm over substance. Her refusal of Darcy based on false information was pure prejudice.
And her growth
Came from confronting the truth in Darcy's letter, learning to doubt her own certainty, to look deeper, to admit she was wrong. That's huge.
Then class and marriage. This feels central.
Absolutely critical. The summary. Austen critiques a society where marriage is often a financial necessity. We saw that with the entailment.
The Bennet girls had to marry for security.
It was their only real option. Lydia's elopement highlights the danger of not securing a respectable, financially sound marriage. Even Jane and Bingley, It's love, yes, but it also solves Jane's financial future.
But Elizabeth pushes back against that, doesn't she, by refusing Mr. Collins?
Exactly. Collins offered security, practicality, even the family home. But Elizabeth refused because there was no respect, no affection. She demands more than just financial necessity, which was radical.
Does that theme still land today? The money aspect of relationships.
I think it does, even if the structures are different. Financial security, social expectations, they still play a role, don't they? Maybe more subtly, but they're often there.
True. And finally, personal growth.
The big takeaway, perhaps. The summary says both main characters learn humility and self-awareness.
Darcy learns.
To value character over class, to temper his pride, to act with genuine consideration shown by his second, much more humble proposal.
And Elizabeth learns.
To question her own judgments, to see beyond surfaces, to be less proud of her own perception, and more open to admitting error. Her acceptance of Darcy comes from a place of real understanding, not just attraction. They both had to change fundamentally to find happiness together. It wasn't just about circumstance, it was internal transformation.
Which really makes you think, doesn't it? In our world now, with information overload, quick takes, social media, how often do our own pride, our certainty, or our prejudices or assumptions stop us from really understanding someone? Or even understanding ourselves?
It's a constant battle, I think. Resisting the easy judgment, the convenient narrative.
What a fantastic journey, just unpacking this summary of Pride and Prejudice. It really drives home why it's endured.
It taps into such fundamental human experiences.
Absolutely. These struggles with first impressions, with class, however we define it now, with changing our own minds, they're timeless. Austen just nailed it.
She really did. Her insight into people is just uncanny.
So, as you go about your day, maybe take a moment to reflect. Think about your own moments of pride, being sure you're right, or prejudice, maybe judging a situation or person too quickly.
Yeah, how often do we react based on the headline, the first impression?
Exactly. Consider how often those initial sound bites we get online, or even in person, might be like Elizabeth's first take on Darcy. Quick, easy, but maybe incomplete, or just plain wrong.
And what does it take to get our own Darcy's letter, that piece of
Yeah.
information, that perspective shift that forces a reconsideration?
That's something to think about. It might require a bit of humility, a willingness to say, maybe I didn't have the full picture.
A challenge for sure, but probably worth it.
Definitely worth it. Thanks for diving deep with us today.
My pleasure.
Until next time, keep questioning, keep learning, and try to keep an open mind.